Happy Sunday morning, boys and girls. It's your old pal, Andy France, the grand poobah of Judson Sunday School. Welcome back to another episode of Virtual Judson Sunday School. How was your Thanksgiving? I hope, in spite of our challenged circumstances, you were still able to enjoy your holidays. I'm glad to be back with you, glad to be back in this big chair this morning. And as you can see, I did not come empty-handed. What is this thing right here? Do you know? Why, of course, some of you know this is an Advent calendar. Do you have Advent calendars at your home? An Advent calendar is used to count down the days till Christmas. They're unlike a regular calendar. There are only 24 days in an Advent calendar. The first 24 days of December ending on Christmas Eve. Advent calendars have been around since the 1800s. The first Advent calendars featured images taken from the biblical Christmas story. Images such as the baby Jesus, his mother Mary, his father Joseph, angels, shepherds, wise men, donkeys, sheep, a manger, whatever else they had back then. But today, goodness gracious, if you can imagine anything as an Advent calendar, you can probably find it. For example, could I interest you in a Harry Potter Legos Advent calendar? Or any sort of movie-themed Advent calendars, such as Frozen, or Star Wars, or the Nightmare Before Christmas Advent calendar? Perhaps you would prefer an Advent calendar more along the lines of Marvel action figures, dinosaurs, unicorns, makeup, fashion accessories, and jewelry. You could get little rubber duckies, monsters, trucks. You could even get yourself a slime Advent calendar. And why wouldn't you? Of course, if you decide to do that, your parents are going to have to get themselves a laundry detergent Advent calendar. Hey, here's one for you. Why not get the Sherlock Holmes Solve-It-Yourself Christmas Crimes Advent calendar? Nothing says Christmas quite like 24 straight days of moida. Or, if you're hungry, you might prefer a Godiva Chocolates Advent calendar, or M&Ms, or Skittles, or Starburst. After all, December is the sweetest month. January is the month when they'll pull all your teeth. But hey, don't just think about yourselves, think about others. That's what Christmas is all about, right? Giving. Why not get your parents a hot sauce Advent calendar? A different hot sauce for every day of Advent. Or, better yet, why not get the beef jerky meaty Christmas Advent calendar? I kid you not. For 24 straight days, you can watch your parents do this. Burp. Oh boy. Of course, you'll have to probably follow that up with an Alka-Seltzer Advent calendar. Now, as you can see, I decided to go with something a little more traditional. This Advent calendar is just, I think it's gorgeous the way it lights up, and it's got deer and trees and snowflakes falling down. The idea with an Advent calendar such as this one is you might find yourself a little treat inside each one of these drawers. Today is the 6th of December, the 6th day of Advent. Let's see if there might be something in the drawer number 6. Oh, sweet. It's an Almond Joy candy bar. This is special and highly symbolic because, as you may or may not know, the Almond Joy was Jesus' favorite candy bar. It's true. According to the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus was preaching his famous Sermon on the Mount, the Beatitudes speech. Blessed are the poor, blessed are the meek, blessed are the hungry. Well, after listening to Jesus preach all day, it turns out everybody was hungry. The problem was there wasn't enough food to go around. All they had were 5 loaves of bread and 2 measly fish, hardly enough to feed the 5,000 people who had gathered to hear Jesus preach that day. Well, according to Matthew, that was no problem because Jesus performed a miracle, somehow allowing that meager bit of bread and fish to feed all 5,000 people. And for dessert, Jesus performed a second miracle. He gave everyone in attendance that day an Almond Joy candy bar. Now, that is actually where the Christmas carol, Joy to the World, comes from. Originally, it was called Almond Joy to the World. Almond joy to the world, the Lord has some. But over the years, the title and the lyrics were shortened to just Joy to the World. And to be candidly speaking about candy bars, that's probably a good thing because not everybody likes an Almond Joy. Let me look in here. Some people prefer Mounds bars. As Jesus himself said, sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Wait, what? You don't believe the whole Almond Joy miracle story? Would you believe the miracle story of the RC Cola and the moon pie? No? Well, that's okay, just as long as there's no beef jerky in my Advent calendar. Well, kids, we can't talk about Advent calendars without understanding what the word Advent means. You're never going to guess what our word of the day is. It's Advent. Advent comes from a Latin word, adventus, which means anticipation of something, the coming or the arrival of something. In the Christian context, Advent means the anticipation of the birth of Jesus, the anticipation of Christmas. Now, when we think of anticipating or looking forward to Christmas, what do we typically think of? And the number one answer is presents. And of course, there's more to Christmas than presents. I imagine we also anticipate or look forward to getting all of our Christmas lights and our favorite Christmas ornaments out of storage and decorating a Christmas tree. Maybe even stringing some popcorn or some cranberries and hanging them around the tree as well, if we don't care about roaches in our apartments. How about looking forward to hanging your Christmas stocking? Or do you look forward to hot chocolate with marshmallows in it? Baking lots and lots of Christmas cookies? Maybe watching sappy Christmas movies with your parents? Sneaking a peek at them when they cry as the angel gets its wings? Do you anticipate Christmas carols like Almond Joy to the World? Or, here's one I anticipate. I look forward to snow at Christmas, and it very rarely happens, but when it does, when it snows in this city, doesn't it just quiet everything down, calm the city just a bit? And last but not least, we all anticipate the arrival of the big man himself, Santa Claus. Now, these are all wonderful things to look forward to. But when we think of Advent, Advent invites us to anticipate something a little deeper. I brought something else with me today. As you can see, this is an Advent wreath, or an Advent crown, as it's sometimes known, accompanied by 4 candles, 4 Advent candles, each candle representing one of the 4 Sundays before Christmas Day itself. Now, this year, the 4 Advent Sundays are November 29th, December 6th, December 13th, and December 20th. This being December 6th, the second Sunday of Advent, we have 2 Advent candles lighted. Sometimes churches have a 5th Advent candle in the center of the wreath or the crown, representing, honoring Christmas Day itself. Now, I know that some of you have been Advent candle lighters in the past here at Judson. And for those of you who have yet to do that, maybe next year when we're all back in this place together, we can see that you can be one of the Advent candle lighters. But whether you've ever been an Advent candle lighter or not, are you familiar with the symbolism behind the 4 Advent candles? All 4 candles represent different things to different people. But for many, the 4 Advent candles symbolize 4 values: hope, love, joy, and peace. All four of these values can be found in the life and the teachings of Jesus. They can also be found in the teachings of all of the world's major religions. Now, it may be taking them out of order, but I thought today we would talk about one value in particular, the value of peace. Do you guys remember the story of The Six Crows by Leo Leone? I'm sure we've read that at least once at Judson Sunday School. But in case it doesn't ring a bell with you, let me just get the page here, and I'll tell you how it goes. Once upon a time, there was a wheat farmer and 6 crows who lived in a nearby tree. Just when the wheat was beginning to ripen, the crows would descend upon the wheat and start pecking away at all the grain. Now, the farmer tried to chase the crows away, but no sooner would the farmer return to his home than the crows would return to the field. So the farmer decided that the best thing he could do would be to build a scarecrow, which he did and placed in the field. When the crows saw the scarecrow, guess what? They were scared crows, and they held a meeting. What should we do? We've got to get rid of that thing. So they decided to build a ferocious kite in the shape of a big bird, and they flew that kite back and forth across the field. Well, as you can probably imagine, the kite had no effect whatsoever on the scarecrow, but it did frighten the farmer, so much that he ran home and locked the door. The farmer thought to himself, well, that scarecrow didn't work. Maybe I should build an even bigger and scarier scarecrow, which he did. This time the scarecrow was giant, and it had a huge head with a scary face, and it had 2 arms brandishing swords up into the air. When the 6 crows saw the new, scarier scarecrow, they decided to build an even bigger and scarier kite, an even angrier bird that flew back and forth across the field. Again, the scarecrow could care less about the kite, but the farmer was terrified. He ran home, locked the door, and refused to go outside, allowing the wheat crop to fail, to die. Now, from her nest in an old tree trunk, a wise old owl was watching all the goings-on. She shook her head and said, I don't know what's sillier, the farmer or the crows. But when the owl noticed that the wheat crop was dying, she decided to go speak to the farmer. Why don't you make peace with those crows? She said. It's too late, said the farmer. It's never too late to talk things over, said the owl. And then the owl went and talked with the crows. When she told them that the wheat crop was failing, they said, well, what can we do about it? The owl said, why don't you go and talk with the farmer? After all, words can do magic. Well, the crows and the farmer agreed to meet in front of the owl's nest. And as the owl looked on, the farmer and the crows talked and talked, first in anger, then more reasonably, and then finally as friends. I must admit, I missed your happy cackling, said the farmer. And we missed your wheat, said the crows. And before long, they were all laughing together. So, how did the farmer and the crows achieve peace? They had to be willing to let go of their anger and overcome all of their fears and talk with one another, right? Once they took that initiative, once they were willing to talk with one another, well, as the owl said, words can do magic. So let me ask you this question. Do you have any crows in your wheat field? And what are you going to do about it? Let's return to our word of the day, the word Advent, and to this idea of anticipating Christmas. All of the things we are looking forward to, the tree, the hot chocolate, the cookies, the presents, those things, they don't just happen on their own, do they? If we want to enjoy Christmas, then we have to do the work. We have to trim the tree. We have to hang the lights. We have to string the popcorn, whatever decorations, put them on the tree. We have to bake the cookies. We have to make the hot chocolate. We have to wrap those presents. In short, we have to do the work if we want to enjoy the benefits. The fulfillment of our anticipation cannot happen without our willingness to take action. This Advent season finds us anticipating many things: Christmas, a new year, a new president, the promise of a vaccine, and who knows, perhaps a kinder, more peaceful planet. It could happen, but it won't happen unless we are willing to do the work, unless we are willing to let go of our anger and overcome our fear and talk with one another. Perhaps then we will find, as that wise old owl said, it's never too late to talk things over. Here is wishing all of us a hopeful, joyous, loving, and yes, peaceful Advent season. Well, boys and girls, today's story is actually a poem by one of the most celebrated poets of her time, Maya Angelou. It's called Amazing Peace, a Christmas poem. Ms. Angelou first read her poem at the 2005 White House Christmas tree lighting ceremony, and it was later adapted into this children's book with the help of Steve Johnson and Lou Fancher. Now, there are a couple of words that you might not be familiar with in this poem. The first is covenant, C-O-V-E-N-A-N-T. A covenant is an agreement or a promise. The Bible always talks about a covenant between God and humankind. The second word is rancor, R-A-N-C-O-R, which is a word that means anger, hatred, bitterness, resentfulness. I think you'll understand all the other words in this poem. We are fortunate today to have a CD that came with this book of Ms. Angelou reading the poem herself. So today, I'll just simply be turning the pages as we listen to Maya Angelou read Amazing Peace.
When I was invited to attend the Christmas tree lighting at the White House and to deliver a poem on the occasion, I was honored. Tsunami, a major earthquake, Katrina and Rita had already happened to our world. I thought of the evacuees and realized that in times of hostilities and natural disasters, each human being becomes an evacuee. I thought that what we need now most, more than food and water, is peace. I wrote this poem, Amazing Peace. Thunder rumbles in the mountain passes, and lightning rattles the eaves of our houses. Flood waters await in our avenues. Snow falls upon snow falls upon snow to avalanche over unprotected villages. The sky slips low and gray and threatening. We question ourselves, what have we done to so affront nature? We interrogate and worry God. Are you there? Are you there really? Does the covenant you made with us still hold? Into this climate of fear and apprehension, Christmas enters, streaming lights of joy, ringing bells of hope, and singing carols of forgiveness high up in the bright air. The world is encouraged to come away from rancor, come the way of friendship. It is the glad season. Thunder ebbs to silence, and lightning sleeps quietly in the corner. Flood waters recede into memory. Snow becomes a yielding cushion to aid us as we make our way to higher ground. Hope is born again in the faces of children. It rides on the shoulders of our aged as they walk into their sunsets. Hope spreads around the earth, brightening all things, even hate, which crouches breeding in dark corridors. In our joy, we think we hear a whisper. At first, it is too soft, then only half heard. We listen carefully as it gathers strength. We hear a sweetness. The word is peace. It is loud now, louder than the explosion of bombs. We tremble at the sound. We are thrilled by its presence. It is what we have hungered for, not just the absence of war, but true peace, a harmony of spirit, a comfort of courtesies, security for our beloveds and their beloveds. We clap hands and welcome the peace of Christmas. We beckon this good season to wait a while with us. We Baptist and Buddhist, Methodist and Muslim, say, "Come, peace, come and fill us and our world with your majesty." We, the Jew and the Jainist, the Catholic and the Confucian, implore you, stay a while with us, so we may learn by your shimmering light how to look beyond complexion and see community. It is Christmas time, a halting of hate time. On this platform of peace, we can create a language to translate ourselves and to each other. At this holy instant, we celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ into the great religions of the world. We jubilate the precious advent of trust. We shout with glorious tongues the coming of hope. All the earth's tribes loosen their voices to celebrate the promise of peace. We, angels and mortals, believers and non-believers, look heavenward and speak the word aloud, peace. We look at our world and speak the word aloud, peace. We look at each other, then into ourselves, and we say without shyness or apology or hesitation, peace, my brother, peace, my sister, peace, my soul.
Well, guess what, kids? It's December, which means it's finally appropriate to sing Christmas songs. And that's what we're going to do right now. Christmas time is here. Now, I need to ask you 3 things before we actually sing this song together. The first is, this is the week to make your Christmas song videos, to have you sing along with me. And so, the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is to put a hat on your head, if you have one at home. Any kind of Christmas hat you want to wear. The stocking caps like we've done in the past, the red and the white ones, purple, green, blue. I don't care what kind of hat you want to put on your head. Anything you want to wear is fine. The second thing I want to ask you to do, and to ask your parents to do, is to film you singing along to this episode. Oliver's dad, Zach, is going to be making a video out of all of our videos, and it would help him if we can all be in the same key. That's our great hope, isn't it? And so rather than going back to an episode in November or even October, sing along with this, and then you can tape along with you singing with me today. The last thing to do is this. Send me your Christmas song videos, you singing along with me today, to Andrew France, Frantz, the number 1, @gmail.com. I need them this week. By Sunday, December 13th, by next Sunday, I have to have them, because we're asking Zach to do a lot of work, taking all of our videos and compiling them into one video of us singing Christmas Time is Here. So let's do that together, shall we? Let me get to my ba-ba-da-ba-da. How's that? Does that sound like a good key for us to sing in? Let's do it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Christmas time is here, happiness and cheer, fun for all that children call their favorite time of year. Snowflakes in the air, carols everywhere, olden times and ancient rhymes of love and dreams to share. Sleigh bells in the air, beauty everywhere. Yuletide by the fireside, and joyful memories there. Christmas time is here, we'll be drawing near. Oh, that we could always see such spirit through the year. Sleigh bells in the air, beauty everywhere. Yuletide by the fireside, and joyful memories there. Christmas time is here, we'll be drawing near. Oh, that we could always see such spirit through the year. Thank you so much. Well, boys and girls, we've done it again. We've somehow managed to get through yet another episode of Virtual Judson Sunday School. As always, I want to thank Andre and Goff for helping put this episode together. We couldn't do it without their help. I want to thank you for being with me today as well. I hope you have a great week, that you stay safe, that you keep a place for Judson in your heart, and that you join me again next week on Virtual Judson Sunday School. Let's sing this song together, shall we? Under the Lord has some. He knew what he was talking about.